I'm Dani.
I'm Marie.
And this is Beyond the Books with Dani Marie. Today, we have a very special treat for you. We are covering A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas.
Yes.
Quite literally our favorite book.
Favorite book.
Right here.
Yeah.
So, before we get started, we should preface this whole thing by telling you that there are going to be spoilers. So if you have not read this book, please just turn this off and
go read it.
And then come back.
Yeah.
All right?
For sure. Heavy spoiler alerts. Also, there's going to be some things brought up. I feel like that if you are under a certain age, you shouldn't be watching this. So just
18 and over, please.
Please.
So if you're not 18, turn it off.
Or with parents' permission.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And also, before we get started, go ahead and hit that little subscribe button up at the top. We would very much appreciate that, and that way you don't miss any of our episodes.
Every Friday.
All right. Okay, so I really want to talk about kind of the rise and fall of Feyre and Tamlin's relationship, because that is a big part of really the whole first book and into the second book.
Right, what develops them as like characters throughout this entire
right,
especially her.
Yes.
Especially
so her. Really what I like about it is that, first of all, the desperation that she has for attention, like just any amount of attention at all
from anywhere at this point.
And so like she gets to the Spring Court and she meets Tamlin, and like they start to develop, kind of like a slow friendship. It's like a slow burning thing,
right? Where she's still doing like the guilty, like I shouldn't be here, but like blah 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 blah. And she's like mad, but then she's like, oh my god, he's kind of handsome, but I can't tell because of the mask.
Right, like she doesn't really know, right?
Right.
And so she knows that she feels some type of way for him,
right.
And then, so really like the biggest monumental piece in the first book is Fire Night. Because he doesn't tell her anything that's happening.
Right.
He doesn't give her any kind of indication.
Right.
And then she goes out and she explores. She meets a handsome stranger, which we'll get to in a minute. And then she comes back and he like attacks her in the hallway. And like when you're first reading it, when I first read it, I was literally so in love.
Steaming.
Yes.
Steaming.
It's such a sexual piece.
Right. And it's like,
you're like, oh,
the crazy.
Yes.
Well, because all of this tension's been building all of this time, and she's like, he doesn't say much, he doesn't do much, he doesn't say much,
and then here he
bam,
is,
out of nowhere,
literally just like
this close, like how close can my hands get without touching? Like that's how close they are.
So, but then once you get through a certain part of the series, you see that Tamlin never really loved her at all. No. And you reread that encounter and it's so lustful.
It's like infuriating. Like,
yes.
Why did I want that?
Yes. Like, why did I like that toxicity?
Right. We're obsessed with this version of him that we've seen because we're so short-sighted and like blinded by all of these things that, oh, finally she's getting this and she's getting, but like, it's still like,
it's like, okay,
literally
her, like, when we talked about it the other day, it was, we said something along the lines of better does not mean best. Right. And like I think earlier you said
the quote, yeah.
Yes.
We accept the love we think we deserve.
Yes. And so I feel like that's what she's doing with Tamlin. She's accepting this because it's better than anything that she's had at home. Like, I mean, he treats her better than her sisters did.
Right.
So, like obviously it's gotta be good, right?
Even him saying nothing, like,
is better
than talking to her at
than
all.
Nesta treats her. So, I mean, just that whole...
Damn it, Joe.
Tuck that away.
I'm gonna keep it. I feel like it's appropriate. I like it.
Oh my god.
Feather in my cap.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Focus.
So, in that, then, she goes under the mountain. She goes to save him because this is like her undying love.
Right. Well, she's already been home and been like, why would I leave him? Why would I?
Well, yeah. And she feels guilty for not telling him she loves him.
Right. Oh.
And.
Oh, I hated that. That was.
Made you mad, didn't it? Because he says it to her and you're like, why couldn't you just say it back?
Say it, right. Which, like, looking back, thinking about all the time, she was like, is this what I want? Is this as good as it gets? And, like, all of the back and forth. Now you're like, no, it ain't, bitch.
Well, and, as a woman...
Right.
When you're in a toxic relationship, you do that all the time. You constantly question yourself.
Yeah.
And
it's because deep down...
You know.
Exactly, yeah. But I'm just, like...
So she gets under the mountain, right? She goes to save him.
This mortal and young, hundreds and hundreds of years younger than him.
Too. Right, and she goes through these trials, right, which are literally built to kill her.
To be honest, they're really, it's messed up, and it's really sad, but that's badass. Like, she's
right,
so...
She's so amazing.
She is mortal. She is mortal and, like, 20 years old. Like,
what? But she's, like, my hero.
The worm...
Oh, my gosh, I know.
Genius. She's a hunter. Don't come for her.
Right. So she undergoes all these tasks, right? And she ends up legitimately killing herself.
Literally died.
For him.
For this guy.
And then, here's what blows my mind. Is we go into the next one, Mist and Fury, and we find her pretty well alone, on her own, and... With him. But he's still not talking to her. He's not giving her choices.
He can hear her.
He's not letting her do it.
From her terrors, from everything she endured.
Yes.
And doesn't do anything.
She literally vomits out her guts every night. And
She's lost weight. She looks like hell.
And does nothing.
He's like, no, I'm gonna just sleep it out. It's fine.
I'll
stay in. I'll do me. You do you.
And it'll be fine.
Also, don't leave this house.
And also, don't talk to me about it, because that's not appropriate either.
I'm upset. Like,
yeah.
Ladies of the blah, 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 blah don't discuss such blah, 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 blah.
And as much as, whenever the first time I read it, as much as I really wanted, her and Tamlin's love
to work it out, persevere.
I literally saw at the end of it, and, that's the other part. So, when they're in Under the Mountain, right, and they're at... one of the evenings.
The library? Is that what we're talking about?
No. Oh. When they're under the mountain and they're it's one of the evenings, right, that they're having, and he like makes eyes with her, like comes and like squeezes her hand, and then like they sneak off together, right? Yeah. And then Ryson finds them later.
Right.
He literally takes her into a room to have sex with her.
Instead of being like, hey, I know you've been tortured.
Are you okay?
Right, I know you almost died, but like, let's bang one out real quick before I have to go back to my master.
Like, who are you?
What?
It actually might have been at that moment that I really decided that I did not like him anymore. That I just could not stomach who he was as a person.
I just swallowed because I was like, just try to keep the disgust down. Like, just this...
I know.
Like, the frustration, like, the emotion, the anger, like, all of it into a bubble and shove it down his throat. I'm so mad.
Right. like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
F them paints. He don't love you.
Right. Like, literally, that's all he ever did for you. Was
Ladies,
give you...
don't forget, just because they buy you things...
does not mean it's love.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. Especially if they lock you inside of a house and you panic and black out, screaming and yelling. And
you blast the wards down. Like,
right. Like, how...
And that's the other thing. Like, in the beginning of that book, he tells her that, like, she can't learn her magic. Like, what?
Right.
Who are you?
It's to protect you. It's to protect you, but, like...
let her be.
Let her protect herself.
Yeah. I can't. So, I liked Tamlin.
Matter of fact, we loved Tamlin.
I loved him at first.
Loved him. I was literally like tears when he said I love you and she didn't say it back. I was like, you stupid. Like, I was mad at her.
But now I hate him.
Right, but we done been down the toxic relationship road. That's what's wrong with us.
And that's why he don't wind up with her.
Right.
So.
Yeah, do better, ladies. Do better.
That is on the relationship with Tamlin. So then next we have the importance of the first encounter with Rhysand. So we don't even know that it's Rhysand when they have
we just know it's some
she describes him as a lethal stranger.
Right, and he good looking.
Well, yeah, also the hottest or the best looking, how does she say, the best looking guy she's ever seen?
Something like that.
The most beautiful man she's ever seen. That's
what it is. Even better than Tamlin.
Yeah.
And he's got tattoos.
Oh. I'm done with you.
It's fine. We're fine.
So here's why I think it's so important. First of all, when she meets him, she doesn't know that it's him.
Right. She was already like panicky because of the other guys, like trying to take her off.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So she's like, oh, salvation.
But even before then, Tamlin had told her, you can't come here, right? Here's another controlling moment from Tamlin. Right. You can't go. You're not invited.
Stay home.
And doesn't give her any information as to why she can't go.
Thank God for Lucien, or she wouldn't know anything. So her only friend.
So, but she describes it as like having this like pulling, commanding feeling towards the drums, drawing her out. Yeah. And what's so incredible about that is, again, at the time we don't know that she's meeting Rhysand, but looking back later, whenever we get more information in the other books, you see why.
Right.
Because
it was him. They were literally being drawn to each other.
They were literally like magnets.
Aww, and he's hot, so that's nice. Rhysand is the most beautiful lord.
Rhysand is the most beautiful High Lord.
Yeah, I freaking love him.
We love him.
Love him.
So then we have the surreal encounter. So the first one happens in the first book when she's seeking answers about breaking the treaty.
I could be wrong. The surreal might have been her first friend. The only one who was honest with her, like, all the way.
True.
Even though it was, like, all, like, she didn't understand anything. It was,
like, puzzled together.
Right. They had... Their relationship lasted longer than anything throughout this book.
Right.
Matter of fact.
Well, the series.
Yeah. Series, yeah.
So, but what makes the surreal unique is that, first of all, in the first encounter, the surreal tells her everything that she needs to know about Amarantha without...
Right.
Like, we don't know at that point.
Thank you, Tamlin, for making sure she didn't understand any of it.
Right, because you didn't give her any information.
I appreciate that, but my nerves were shot.
But that... so the surreal gives her all this information, but then the next encounter with the surreal is when she's trying to save Rhysand's life.
Right.
In the second
one, where they ended up in the cave, right? Yes.
Yeah. And so she goes and she traps the surreal again,
right?
Seeking answers on how to save his life, and the surreal's like, "Well, you've had the power to save his life because you're mated,
right?
And or because you're his mate."
And she said, "Excuse me."
Wait, what?
Excuse. She was so mad. She said, "I'm gonna save you, but then I'm gonna kill you."
But what I like is that, again, the surreal is completely honest with her, and is blown away that she doesn't already know this information.
And it's like she should have known. Like
I feel like deep down she did.
Right.
That's why she took her several days in the cabin to figure it out.
Right. Yeah. But I think after everything with Tamlin, she was just like.
And then...
Do I want a mate? Do I...
And then the last encounter with the surreal kind of breaks my heart.
I have never been so sad about... He's not even, like...
A main character.
He's not even a secondary character. He pops up 3 times in the series, and that's it.
Yeah.
But, like, I was literally like... He's dying. Like, I was so sad.
It was so sad.
Like, he let her catch him. He put on the robe knowing everything. He knew everything. And she was like, "Let me save you." He was like, "You have to go now."
Yeah, you have to get out of here. You have to save yourself.
And he's like this dark, demented thing, but like even he...
But showing her the same kindness that she showed him.
Yeah, that is full circle. Yeah. Ladies and gents, full circle.
And it's so powerful. Like, it's so powerful. So, going back to Under the Mountain, whenever they're under the mountain... What I really like, I think my favorite part about that whole, like, piece of the first book is that you really get to see the complexity at least a sneak peek of the complexity of Ryson's character.
Oh my god, that's so true.
Because he not only helps her, like heals her, and makes a bond with her.
Promises.
But he also helps her in some of the other challenges without Amarantha finding out. He literally...
This hoe can't read. Like, full-grown adult can't read. And he literally risked it all helping her read a sentence on a wall.
Yeah, like, figure it out. And I mean...
Like...
It's just so amazing to see an author, you know, describe someone in one way based off of other characters. So, like, Tamlin and Lucian think that Ryson is, like, next to the devil.
Right, and that's what he's...
Because he is Amarantha's right hand.
Right, and he's, like, hidden all these things and let them believe he's this torturer.
But he literally is, like...
The sweetest candy in a box.
Well, and I mean, literally the best character
Loyal.
in the whole
If there
book.
was ever a perfect person, it would be him.
If only.
This was not rehearsed or scripted. Let's talk about that.
I hate you. I hate us.
Literally every time.
So then again, you know, Tamlin's lust in the whatever, and I just
for me, my favorite part under the mountain, which is actually really like the most messed up part, is my favorite part because you can see the contrast in Tamlin and Ryson's character, because when her neck snaps, you literally can hear the snap. Tamlin lunges for Amarantha to get his revenge because he's angry. Ryson
screams for her,
like breaking from the inside out, like to get to her, to save her, and he takes blow after blow after blow.
And not to mention the fact that he literally uses the last bit of any kind of magical strength reserve that he has, because she's still holding all of his power. And he uses the last bit of power that he has available to him, as he's probably lying, like dying on the floor too.
Right.
To withdraw basically her spirit out of her body and hold her there.
Right. Because they're linked. And that was the only thing. Yeah, that was it. Literally just like the string of life straight from him.
Yes.
Holding her in limbo long enough for...
I didn't even think about like that contrast piece.
Oh, that's my favorite.
I love
that moment. In that exact moment is when I was like, that's how you know.
Yeah. And he's so much better than Tamlin.
Well, because it was like, because Tamlin saw her as like, I hate to say it, but like property.
Yeah. That's exactly what she was.
He saw her as property, and when someone like degrades or breaks your property, you want them to pay for it. Mm-hmm. You don't want to like try to fix it. You want them to pay for it. Right, when it's something that you're like bound to like that emotionally, and like it's something you love. Like if someone were to tear up your grandmother's piano, you wouldn't be trying to get them to pay for it. You would be holding the pieces.
I was distraught.
Yeah, exactly. That's the difference between the love and lust, and that's the difference between them as people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Think of is subscribe, tell your friends, share, comment, and email us if you have any of your own opinions. We love different opinions on this topic. That's one thing her and I, we go back and forth all the time. Please comment and tell us what you think about the stuff that we've discussed. Tell us we're wrong. Tell us what more you want us to talk about. Yeah. Or if you have any questions and you just, because we've talked a lot, and I'm endless sure hours. Yeah, I mean a lot. So like, if there's something that you don't understand and you think we might be helpful, or if there's something you think we don't understand and you could be helpful, let us know. Please. Yeah. So yeah, subscribe, like, share, all of those good things. Comment.
And we'll see you next
week.
Friday.
Yeah.